Today, I'm delighted to welcome Eslam Saeed, Head of Information System Department at Lincoln College International. Hey, Eslam, welcome to Caspio's Low Code and High Impact series. And I'm looking forward to hearing about your Caspio and low code journey. So I know it's quite late your time in the day there in Saudi Arabia, but why not kick us off and share a little bit about yourself, your background, and your company?
Yeah, my name is Eslam Saeed. I am the head of information service, Lincoln College International. Lincoln College International has a lot of colleges around the world in UK, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and China. Actually, we are running campuses from zero level up to the students graduates. So you could say we are an education provider. So this is actually the main work environments we are in. Yeah.
Okay. So Islam, I know you've been the customer of Caspio now for almost 4 years. Can you remember what first brought you to even consider low code and obviously Caspio?
Okay, it's actually a long story. I'm at the beginning of my career in 2007. I started working as a .NET developer. So I'm actually the one who is working in codes. And as you know, to build the projects, it takes long time from the perspective of creating the leaderships and, creating scrums and all of this sprints and all of these things in our development. In 2015, I changed it a bit from the .NET development to be a SharePoint developer. I studied SharePoint a lot till I reached the architect level. So I did a lot of projects in SharePoint. SharePoint was really fantastic. I used it a lot. But again, I reached to the limit. So the limitation of SharePoint was the slowness and all of these things. As you may know, in the education sector, the budget of running applications and such type of things is not that huge. We are not investing a lot in the environment of technology. We investing in environment of technology in the learning. So you could add computers labs, whatever, to support the students, not to support the supporter. So I actually did a compare in the market between many types of applications. One of them was Caspio. It's to be honest, it was something like accidentally. I created trial version on this Caspio. I remember those days, and then I started adding some information on it, and I started with something like 10 data pages. I communicated with my account manager, and her name is Victoria. She is actually one of the best account manager I used to work with, because she actually care about every small thing about me. I never ever asked about something she didn't come back to me, and she is always supporting. Really, Victoria, she suggested, how about if we do this? How about if we build that? How about if you communicate with Caspio team to know more about, how about if you read this documentation? So when I read it and I compare it between my life in .NET development and SharePoint development, and then I moved to this Caspio, it was actually a huge improvement in our application management. So the main reason was the shortage of stuff I'm dealing with. And the other main reason is the usability and what should I say? I could say also the credibility of how to use Caspio. So Caspio, for the people who has a background of programming, sometimes the people who are using programming, they feel sensitive about they are using some low code, but they don't know what is in background. To be honest, it wasn't me, because the reputation of what I'm looking for was very high, especially in the demands of the work I'm doing.
Islam, you mentioned that when you was reviewing low-code providers, you were looking at various suppliers. Can you remember why you chose Caspio? What was the deciding factor?
Okay, the main issue is in Caspio, I felt like I'm free to do two things. I'm free to use my triggers and my task schedules from my SQL background. The other thing is I could use the API's connectivities, so I could create my own application also.
Mhm.
So this actually was very good. The other thing is Caspio is using unmetered bandwidth. So I know sometimes there is some fair usage, but I never reach to it. So
Yeah.
I could serve something like maybe 7,000 students in my applications with no any interrupt, which was great for me in medium usage. Caspio also, offering high level of support. So whatever I'm looking for, there is always specialized people who are responding to what we are looking for. One of the also main reason was the easiest way to communicate with any type of websites. Like, if I'm using Joomla or website or WordPress or even ASP.NET or whatever, I could use the deployments and the communicate between the database is very, very good for me, So
Yeah,
yeah,
thanks for
so this
sharing
is
that,
actually
Islam.
the main reason.
Yeah. I'm just thinking about your application. Can you share with everyone a little bit about your application? What does it do and who are the end users?
The application actually is not that complicated, and it's complicated. So the application is using we are dealing with the students as end users, and we are dealing with teachers also as the end users, and we are dealing with other departments in our area, like human resource departments, finance departments, IT departments. So in each section, we are developing something to support the department. Like IT, we are supporting them by adding assets management and adding ticketing systems. For HR, we are doing the calculations of leaves, and we are doing the payroll calculations and some letters. And I like the feature of this PDF creativity. So, and this is actually one of the things I may didn't tell about your last question, which is Caspio always giving us something special. I didn't pay for this feature, but suddenly you add something to our application
Yeah.
without me asking for it. So it's actually, there
Nice
is a
surprise.
generosity. Really, 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 there is the app designer, the PDF connectivities, all of these things, it come to my plan without me asking for it. Yeah, I know it's something like no one could use the 1,000 application or connectivity per month or something like that, but at least you put it inside my application without me asking for it. And between release and release, there is always new development. What a such a beautiful team, really, really, the team adding things, and I think they hide things. Sometimes they deprecate,
Yep.
some issues regarding the security reasons. Like latest one is access databases, which is actually somehow upsetting me. I'm not using this too much, but I didn't know what is the issue, but I'm sure there's issue in security. Yeah, but yeah, so I could say again, we are working with many teams, and in each team sometimes they have something like, we need to create this application tomorrow, and we need to access this application via mobile phones, web browsers, and we need to communicate this project with some kind of databases or whatever. So to create this, it takes long time. But with this low code technology, which is again, low code technology sometimes gives some limitation, I'm not saying, and this limitation, you actually supported the API connectivity to make it unlimited. So whatever you could use, you could use via the APIs, but it will need some development skills, which is fortunately I have. So the
Well, Eslam, it's
application
interesting what
helping
you said
us.
about your skills, because I speak to a lot of customers where they don't have a technology background. And it's really interesting having the different types of conversation when somebody has a tech background and somebody that doesn't. And you mentioned the support team that we have, the services team at Caspio. And that seems to be the biggest kind of win for a lot of customers, especially when they don't have a tech background, knowing that there's somebody there 24/7 to really support them if they get into trouble or they get lost. Having that peace of mind that there's somebody there at Caspio to support is a really big thing from a lot of customers that I'm talking to.
Yeah, you know, again, you know, in any environment of information technology, the guy who is responsible should create his disaster recovery and his backup
Yeah.
things. But really, with your team, I could say if I lose something, I'm just, you know, I'm not even calling them. I'm just opening the chat box in our accounts, just telling them I lost this. I cannot find this. Within minutes, you know,
Yeah.
someone is responding to me with a lot of wishes and you know the start of conversation is something, you know, making the trouble I am in good way. So I'm really this is one of the most professionalist teams. I'm dealing with many other providers, not in application codes, but in many other companies.
Yeah.
And I'm always feeling comfortable when I am talking with the team and how professionals and how skills they have. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned about the releases, and now we're doing monthly releases. Our product team are doing that. And we obviously got a robust roadmap as to what the product looks like short, mid, and long term. But I think what I love about Caspio, and again, the conversations I'm having with a lot of customers and obviously feedback that they provide, that's when they come up with ideas, we do evaluate them. And some of these ideas do get added to the roadmap. So it's, I think for me, listening to customers, what do they need? What's going to enhance them to achieve their goals and really focus on success. We do build those ideas into the roadmap as well. So you're going to see more and more features as we go down the path as well, which is quite exciting.
Unstoppable. Yeah, it's unstoppable, to be honest. And I'm always, you know, expecting something new in each release. You know, sometimes the release is fixing things.
Yeah.
I have another issue with the team. It may come in next release because, you know, I have small issues. But to be honest, every release, you know, it's something like you have 3 steps: something you fixed, something you developed,
Yeah.
something you add.
It's
So
true.
it's something new you add, and this is, I'm always seeing this since release 20 or something like that. You know, it's not always about fixing or developing. No, it's adding
Yeah.
and adding value for customers. It's something like, to be honest, I didn't ask for, and you give me something new every time.
No,
So
it's
this
great.
is really this is new thing, and you have to know what you are offering is something new. No one in the market adding things without you asking for it, you know. So
Yeah.
it's
Well, Islam, you mentioned about well, you've been with the customer Caspio now for 4 years almost, and you mentioned about the students and things like that. So, what return on investment are you seeing? Are you seeing hard dollar saving, or are you seeing efficiency savings, or are you seeing both?
both, actually. To be honest, the saving, first of all, the saving in employability, uh, or the employees I need. If I'm using some other technologies other than Caspio, I should have SQL server admin, and I should have some SQL developer, and I should
Yeah.
have some GUI who is graphic user interface developer. Plus, I would need to have maybe 2 or 3 supporter to just support the application. So imagine, you know, you could build the application by yourself, and you don't need all of this big teams, and you have someone who is behind you, who's doing this, you know, the server backups, and you know, developing and all of these things. So I think, first of all, it's big save. Second, it's not only about big save. Second is the easeability of how people using this, especially with the, you know, everyone now in the world using the mobile phone.
Yeah.
So the responsive feature is something very good. You know, I'm not in my experience, I'm not that good in mobile application. You know, I used to do some small mobile applications, but you know, there is no time in the world now to learn all of those technologies. But if you provide me with something, it looks professional in mobile, you know, and it's responsive without me
Yeah.
adding something responsive on it. So now you are doing in 2 sides of business. Yeah, for saving and for the usability. And to be honest, no one of the end users complain about anything. I couldn't say it's zero mistakes, but yeah, no one complained. No one can see the data page from Caspio and say what kind of application you created this from. Is it ASP.NET or PHP or whatever forms? No
Yeah.
one could figure it out till you tell this come from where. Yeah.
No, thank you for sharing that. So, what advice would you give somebody, Eslam, if they're considering low code or Caspio?
Yeah. First of all, okay, it's again, it's hard question to answer, but if they are technical, like in my situation, I'm suggesting to read more about the low code, because again, I'm telling you, in the world there is a sensitivity about how to use low code, because the people think low code means we don't know what's going behind. No, low codes means there is someone else doing some other works for you to save your time. So this is actually the low codes. And if you are expert in technology, you know, it's based on SQL Server and based on some development in .NET, I think, plus some other features. And I'm sure in some points, if you need to know more about low codes, this will be the one of the leadership in the market. You know, I mean, Caspio, you know, compared to others. And you have to read more and read the reviews about the service of low code. For the normal people who are actually most of the people in the world will come to the development or the programming world, you will feel like you are a programmer or developer who could present something and could export something and could do charts and more. And if you want to use this for other applications or in integration with others, there is a massive integration with all applications in the world, I think, especially with this third-party connectivity, or even you could create your own connectivity, or you could communicate with the team in Caspio, and they could create a connectivity for you in reasonable price. It's actually reasonable price. It's not something like, you know, they offer big issues. No. I think it's always reasonable prices. What is the development team doing? Yeah.
You know, Islam, it's interesting what you're saying there, because as I said earlier, is that I speak to a lot of customers and a lot of them don't have any technical background. So to see some of the applications that they've created self-taught by watching the videos and the material that we have on the website, it's just outstanding to see what they've actually created and the impact it's having on their own business as well.
Absolutely.
In a positive way. And then obviously some of these customers, because they don't have a technical background, because it's such a complex application they're trying to work with, they also work with our professional services team as well, who are obviously the experts and can really help those customers that don't have a technical background, but they're looking to create something very technical. So there's always support there, not just from a support 24/7 perspective, but also as well to help them build the application. But I know you haven't worked with our professional services team. You've obviously got a very strong technical background, and you can build your own application, which is great. But
yeah, I'm now in communication with one of the professional teams, and I'm actually they are doing a proposal for me right now.
Great.
And yeah, I'm working with them. It's finally I'm working with them, because you know, sometimes I got busy times, so unfortunately, even with low code, so you need someone to support you.
Yeah, no, it's great to hear. So obviously you've not got a crystal ball, so you don't know what the future looks like, but I'm thinking around, how can you think low code and Caspio can help you in the future?
Okay, I'm looking for more features, to be honest, you know, like maybe adding some IDE, like, you know, environment, like Visual Studio, something similar to any IDE, which is supporting us to create more usability applications, or I mean from the side of looks and feels, you know, something gives, you know, a change. And currently, yes, I could use looks and feels from the CSS and the HTML, which is already there, but something more. And I see now the app designer is already launched, and fortunately I am one of the few customers who got it for free to test it.
Yeah.
I didn't have much time to test it, to be honest, but I'm going to test it, and I hope, and as I see every I could say every month release, I see something new in this. But unfortunately, I haven't enough time to just go through it and check it. But I wish this allowing us to have look and feel, and changing the look and feel in easy easier way.
Well,
Yeah. And
Eslam,
I cannot forget when I started working with Caspio, when you have this old look and feel, which is, it was looking like, whatever, it was looking very old, but you developed this twice. So you changed the look and feel for Caspio itself twice. So
yeah, we've got to
yeah.
keep making it look good and making sure it's the best in the marketplace. So, Islam, thank you so much for your time today and sharing your low code and Caspio journey. I'm sure everybody's going to find it really interesting. Thank you for being a Caspio customer and for your continued business.
You are welcome.
Bye
And
for now.
it's really nice to meet you. And thank you so much.
Thank you.